Matthew Dickerson is with us for a talk on technology. That's his area of expertise. How are you today, Matthew?
Oh, I'm very good, thanks, Chris. Good to be chatting to you again, and the new year's rolling away before we know it.
Sure is. Now, can technology solve the problem of letting the cat out?
Well, I'm a believer, Chris, that technology can solve every problem. And this is a problem that many people have, either getting up early in the morning, for example, and having to let the cat out to go outside and go to the toilet, or if they've got a small dog, the same thing might apply. Or if they're at work, for example, and they don't like the idea of leaving their dog or cat outside all day, but they don't really want to leave them inside because they come home and there's a bit of a smell in the house there. So there's a new device out, and I've seen devices similar, Chris, where they've got the ability to have someone or a cat or a dog open a door, a small sort of pet door in their door to let them go in and out. But this one just takes it to the next level, because one of the problems, of course, is if you've got that little cat flap, then a small child who maybe want to get into your house and take advantage of your nice things in your house can also get in and out that door. But this is a complete door. You install a new door, and it's got, just like an elevator doors that open and close, it's got sliding doors in the front of it, and it's activated by your pet who's wearing a collar that's Bluetooth connected to your door. Of course, it's got to have Bluetooth, Chris. And so the cat or dog can walk up to that door. When they get within a certain distance of it, automatically those doors will slide open, the cat or dog can go through it, and then on the other side, the same thing. You've still got to be conscious of the fact that someone could be waiting and your pet goes in the door and they can slide through that door at the same time. So, of course, it's also got a video stream. Every time that door's open, you'll see a video stream of your pet going in or out, and there's two-way audio. So you can hear what's happening at their end, and you can actually speak to your pet, or if there's someone climbing through the door, you can speak to that person and say, hey, get out of the house, I've got you on video. So it's the complete package. It's not cheap. It's about $3,000 for this one, Chris. So that's the entire door as well. So you've got to install a door that's got this particular device in it, but a great solution if this is a problem that you've got with your cats and dogs getting in and out of the house.
I've got a little cat. She looks just like a Russian blue, but she doesn't have the pedigree, but she's an indoor cat.
Right.
So that sounds like a fascinating door that could be included in someone's house.
Yeah, exactly right. And again, you'd really want to be focused on your pets to be able to go and lay out that kind of money just for a door to let your dog in and out of the house. But if that's something that's important to you, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, what about your house that's probably always needed a touchless doorbell?
Of course, why not? And there's obviously lots of doorbells out there at the moment where you can come along, press the doorbell, it'll contact you on your phone, and then you can have a look at who's there. It doesn't matter if you're in the house or you're on the other side of the world. You can actually look at it on your phone. You can actually unlock the door, or you can talk to that person there. So that all sounds fine. But of course, in the environment we're in now, then we're recommending people, or the health authorities are recommending people don't touch too many things. So it's at the point now, a new device has come out from a company called alarm.com, where you can walk up to the door. Once you come in within a certain zone, a specific zone area, then it will automatically ring your doorbell for you. So you don't actually have to touch anything. Now, with so many deliveries occurring at the moment, people are getting their online deliveries, with so many deliveries happening, then this is the sort of thing that you can imagine a delivery person going door to door, pressing all those doorbells. One person in the neighbourhood has something that COVID-19 on their doorbell. Next thing you know, it's through the entire neighbourhood. So this sort of contactless doorbell is obviously with COVID-19 around, but it sounds like a great idea. It might be a bit confusing to people about how they actually activate the doorbell. So you can actually get a doormat with it that tells you where to stand. Not that the standing on the actual doormat will trigger the doorbell, but it will tell people where to stand so you're in the zone to actually trigger the doorbell. So I suppose it's one of those things we didn't really know we needed this, Chris, until COVID-19 came along. And then people are putting lots of things forward, lots of different ideas forward to try and cope with the virus. And this is just another one of those ideas.
Now, Matthew, consumers have been targeted in a text message scam which involves Woolworths. Woolworths not being the perpetrator, but tell us a bit about that one.
Yeah, and it is important here, Chris, to say that it's not from Woolworths, it's not involving Woolworths. There's no breach of security or data from Woolworths, but this particular scammer or this company that's doing the scamming has chosen Woolworths as a trusted brand. And what they do, first of all, is they send you a text to say that when you made a purchase last year at Woolies, and they're pretty safe in saying that, you'd be pretty secure in saying that most people throughout an entire year would have made a purchase at Coles or Woolies during the year. So they're pretty safe in that first part. So people go, oh, it must be me they're talking about because I made a purchase at Woolworths last year. The second thing they've done, which is very clever of them, and I hate to use the word clever in terms of scammers, Chris, but the second thing they've done is they've used your name. So somehow they've got some data that's got your mobile phone number and your name. Now, we don't know where that's come from at this stage. Certainly hasn't come from Woolworths, but we don't know where it's come from, but it doesn't matter. Once they say, hi Chris, you made a purchase at Woolworths last year, click on this link or ring this number to claim your prize. People go, oh wow, it must be me because I've got my name and I did make a purchase at Woolies. So that's the way they try and suck people in. And then, of course, once they submit that information, they might say, oh, you've just got to send your credit card details through to pay for the postage for this wonderful prize you're about to pick up. But, of course, the prize never comes and they just take money off your credit card. Or sometimes they'll just ask for your password for your Woolworths account so they can go through and get that prize sent out to you. They make it sound very good. They've actually got a virtual assistant. Her name is Susie. That virtual assistant will have a discussion with you if you go back via the link on the text message. So they've made it look like an incredibly professional organisation. Meanwhile, there's scammers sitting there who are just trying to steal money from people. So it's a bit sad that organisations do this, but that's a focus of some organisations. They want to make themselves a professional scamming organisation.
Yes, I've got a rule now that unless I'm 100% sure that email link or text message link is 100% genuine, it could be a bank or other company, I won't click on it.
Yeah, that's good. And I actually had a phone call the other day myself, Chris, where there was a bank that rang and said, oh, your credit card's been used. And it wasn't even my bank that the phone call was made from, so I kind of knew straight away it was a scam, but I wanted to see what they had to say. And they used the name James Smith, and they said, do you know a James Smith, and did they make an $800 purchase, or did you authorise them to make an $800 purchase from you in America? And of course, I don't know a James Smith, or I don't know any $800 purchase in America. But I said, oh yes, that's a good friend of mine, and they hung up on me straight away. So as soon as they get an answer they don't want, or as soon as they realise that they're not going to get something out of someone, they're very quick to move on to the next one. But I'm always interested to see the latest tactics. So if someone has a phone call about some scam involving James Smith, I'd recommend that it's probably a scam.
All right. Now, the farm of the future could be hiding inside a shipping container, Matthew.
It's quite incredible what we've got in terms of some of the ways, I suppose, we'll be farming in the future. And this shipping container is called the Cube. And it's basically a self-contained farm, very small self-contained farm. But as we've got a larger and larger population around the world, as we've got different areas that you're trying to farm and you're relying on things like rainfall and sun to be able to have an effective farm, this is a self-contained unit that will allow you to build your own farming environment. It's not designed to replace the plains around Bourke with a farming environment in a cube or in a shipping container. It is designed to go into highly populated areas where you can then grow some of your own goods in this container. Now, I don't think it's going to replace all the farms that we've got out around Australia, but it's a way to get some of the product right where it's needed. It's obviously controlled environment. It's got the right amount of sunlight, if you want to call it that. It's obviously fake light in there. It's got the right amount of humidity, the right amount of rainfall in there. It's basically this whole unit that's contained, and you can change that environment to grow whatever you might need to grow in there. One of the greatest advantages of something like this is the ability for you to basically go through and have the product where you need it. So rather than have to ship products from other parts of the country or even from around the world, you've got this environment where you'll grow what you need right there where it is. These will be stacked up. They'll be stacked either horizontally or vertically. I can see old, for example, railway stations or old maybe high-rise buildings that aren't being used by people at the time, built out with these cubes to be able to grow some of the goods that people will need right there in the environment that they need. So it's a different way to go about farming. It's a different way to get some of the farming also produce out there. But again, I suppose it's a need that's come about because we have such a growing population around the world and we need to feed them.
Yeah. And lastly, this morning, Matthew, if we like the idea of a car dash cam but don't like the clunky unit mounted on our windscreens.
Yeah, that is a problem for some people. I'm a big fan of dash cams. All my kids, when they've gotten their first cars, I've made sure they've had dash cams in them. It's much to protect them as it is to make sure they're driving safely. But some people don't like the dash cam stuck on the windscreen. It's a bit clunky, looks a bit ugly. It might restrict their view a little bit. That might be an excuse, I'm not sure. It might just be a legitimate excuse. But the latest invention, if you like, from a company is that you've got a normal rear view mirror, but within that rear view mirror, you've actually got your dash cam. So it's got the camera out the front of the rear view mirror. It's also got the actual dash cam that you can view on the passenger or the driver's side viewing area. So you can see the dash cam. You don't want to look at the dash cam all the time. You just want to know it's being recorded. So you can actually turn that display on or off so that it's an entire mirror as per normal, or it can be part mirror and part dash cam. More importantly, it's still recording all that information. It's got that information there if something happens. It's got all the normal things you'd expect in a dash cam. If it experiences a certain number of G-forces, it locks that bit of footage there to make sure that you've got that, it doesn't get recorded over. So great idea. I love the idea of dash cams built in. And there are cars coming out now that have got dash cams built in them, because I can see more and more people will expect that to be part of a modern car. But just the same way as back in the old days, Chris, back when you and I were growing up, it was a bit of a novelty to put a stereo or a CD player in our car, whereas it got to the point where that was all standard fare in any sort of car you'd buy. I can see this is still a third-party option at the moment. It'll get to that point in the future where dash cams will be just part of the furniture in a modern car, and I suspect that part of that dash cam will be recording out of the back of the mirror, because it's a convenient location that doesn't obstruct your view, unobtrusive in there, but all part of it. So companies like this that are bringing out these as a third-party option now probably will partner with some of those car companies and actually end up being integrated into the car.
All right, Matthew. Well, we can see all of your great videos on YouTube. Just search Matthew Dickerson Technology, and have a good week, mate. We'll talk again next Wednesday.
Thanks, Chris. Chat to you next week.